Welcome in everybody to a Wednesday night edition of the show. Joe Quills here with you, and I think this is going to be a shorter show tonight, but hey, that's all good. Don't always have to have a long show, especially right now. But we're here on this Tuesday, Wednesday night. I don't even know what day of the week it is. I mean, I would give myself one of those. Screw it, we'll do it because I am in day number 5 in a row that I've worked, and it's hard to explain um, my whole mentality at redacted company. Well, I gave a bit of an idea of what my uh, communications, uh, the the type of company I work at. But anyway, it's still redacted. But anyways, it's just that I'm used to taking the Wednesday before a weekend that I work, and I end up working the Tuesday after the weekend because I take advantage of the time and a half pay on on the Sunday. I take the days off during the week, and I try not to work more than 5 days in a row because I'm ready to kill somebody, not literally, figuratively. So don't report me for saying something which is uh, a little bit of hyperbole, but not really going to happen because I do have my morals and all that stuff. So, but I've always tried to take, especially with the rotation that I have at Redacted Company, I try to do the Wednesday before the weekend I'm working and the Tuesday after, just because I can, um, you know, not work too many days in a row so that my mental health doesn't go into the toilet. But tomorrow is day number 6 in a row. It was playing that way. It was like, well, how can I do this without working 8, 9, 10 days in a row? Because but if it was 8, 9, 10 days in a row, I won't need a haircut because I'd be pulling all my hair out. But uh, once again, figuratively. But but it is a big weekend coming up with the Breeders' Cup. Tomorrow, I'm leaning towards giving you guys a show, Breeders' Cup related, for the 5 races on Friday. Um, Also, just a reminder, also eligible. Host of my show. We go back and forth with things with the races. He will be possibly on the show on Saturday, and so much to talk about. AJ will be here on Saturday, and we're gonna have some fun here this weekend. Hopefully, maybe we can make some money. And if you saw my article today, congratulations, you won. I think it was $7.52 for every $2 wagered. Um, Let me just double check that here real quick. Uh, $7.26, so a little over 5 to 2. It was the second choice, and some of the horses I was figuring would be on the front end were not on the front end, but the horse I figured would be stalking with the leader. It's a little too close to the lead, but drew off and won. So winner, winner, chicken dinner for those that took my advice and took the 10 horse by the name of Cruz Chica in the fourth race at Churchill Downs this afternoon. So, but it is a big weekend coming up, Breeders' Cup. We'll get into that tomorrow for the Friday races. Saturday morning will be the Saturday show. We're also going to do it live Friday around the 5 o'clock start. First race is around 5:30. Got 5 Breeders' Cup Juvenile races on Friday. Got 9 races on Saturday. Long day. Probably gonna have to take 2 or 3 piss breaks on Saturday, but it'll all be worth it. And hopefully, we can make some money. So, also, we'll be very interactive. So, if you want to chat along, not only tonight, but if you want to chat along on Saturday, feel free to join me, and we can go back and forth because that's the goal. We just want to have fun. Little juvenile humor here and there, an occasional thought where you're like, man, this guy is smart. And then there's some statements that's like, dude, is this guy a mental midget? Oh, I'm not supposed to say the midget word. Oh well, oh, I said it again. But you get the idea. But anyways, we got a show coming up here tonight. I don't think we're going to be that long. But every time I say that we're not going to have a long show, we end up talking 2.5, 3 hours. I'm aiming for an hour to an hour and 15 minutes tonight. If we run a little over, that's fine as well. But um, I mean, the Bleacher Brothers Sports Network is going to be starting up on the 11th, so we will be going a hard, uh, a bracketed 2-hour show, and I think we're occasionally going to have guests on there. Mike will be on here on Monday nights. Um, do want to touch base with some people, see if they want to join the show, have some fun. Little things that we can do a little bit differently here, because um, you know, just having fun with this show, and that's what this is all about. So, but feel free to comment in the chat room like you always do. Sometimes it's more active than others, and that's fine. And like I gave you the example of me when I was in grade school. I was the type of person that learned by taking in the information, not actively talking. That's okay too. You can lurk around, you can be active, whatever you want to do. But hopefully, whatever it is you're doing tonight, hopefully you're having fun here tonight, and we will get things rolling here tonight. So, also saw the Bleacher Brothers show beforehand. That's why we're a little late, but like I told AJ, if he runs over, I don't care. But they ran over about 10 minutes. I was like, all right, let's give it a 10-minute break. Uh, you know, so um, he had Rocco Bruno on the show, and no, that's not Tony Bruno's kid. Um, Now the funny thing is, his father is named Tony Bruno, but it's not the Tony Bruno. We even checked with Mari Povich, and he said when it comes to 20-year-old Rocco Bruno, Tony, you're not the father or the grandfather. So, so, but yeah, he's a goalie. He played at St. Joe's Prep, my alma mater, and also he is with Florida Atlantic right now. They have a club hockey team down there, and one of the top club teams uh, around. And he is a he is a sophomore right now, and had a 10-2 record last year for Florida Atlantic, and doing well again this year. Don't know the record off the top of my head, but yeah, he is worth a watch, and hopefully, if things go according to plan with vacations, because I know at my job at Redacted Company, especially my department at Redacted Company, vacation selection is coming up soon, and I know what weeks I want to target. Um, but the one thing I will tell you guys is, if I can get down to Florida, I will. Um, I know Gulfstream Park has the Florida Derby. Maybe get to go there if if I can get a week off. Um, Maybe if I get lucky, I can head to New Orleans for fairgrounds for the Louisiana Derby. Kind of see the thing is, I could just get a press pass and say, you know, you know, look at me, I'm Mister Degenerate at Bleacher Brothers. I'm not. I mean, I am. a handicapper, finger quotes. But I'm not I'm not the type of guy that wants to sit in a press room. Like for example, Parks's press room was basically um, this area between the two ramps that you walk down towards the front doors of the racetrack. Um, you know, I'm the type of person that wants to be amongst the crowd. So I'm not going to be, you know, I mean, I will tweet on my phone or whatever, but I'll give updates on the phone. But I'm not going to write a whole article right there. I'd rather, uh, you know, just do whatever. Um, but I like to be amongst the crowd, like to wander around, get a feel for everything, get my hot dog and soda that I usually get when I'm there, when I'm usually at parks. Couldn't get it on Pennsylvania Derby Day when I was there because the lines are too damn long. Actually, did I get a? No, I didn't. But I'm the type of guy, and um, probably um, probably with Chef Tom being out there, and he'll probably be on the Saturday show. I'll ask him, what are the hot dogs like there? Because I'm a hot dog guy. I won't mind having a hot dog or two every now and then. I'm not the type of guy who will. I mean, if somebody invited me to fancy schmancy restaurant, finger quotes, yeah, I'll go. You know, um, but I'm not the type of guy that wants a full course meal at the track, or the restaurant in the track, or even in the casino. Even though the casino, you can comp a lot of the shit, um, but I'm just a simple guy. Something quick to eat, like a hot dog, and the diet soda, because I don't drink regular soda. Because it's not because of the sugar intake or anything like that. It's just after a while, I'm so used to drinking it just feels so much lighter when it hits your mouth as opposed to a regular soda. But you know teach their own. But I really like to be amongst the crowd as opposed to being stuck in some press section of the track. And with the way that horse racing is, the press box areas aren't what they used to be. It used to be you'd have two, three, four writers at a racetrack every day. Now you don't have any of that. And I mean, I don't even know. I mean, but if you're on staff at parks, for example, you have the second floor, which is administrative. The first floor is the main gambling area. You have the third floor, which they occasionally use, but not really. That's a public area. The fourth floor is another administrative area. Then you got the fifth floor, which is used for special occasions like the Pennsylvania Derby or Kentucky Derby. And then you have the sixth level, which is the area where um, the track announcer usually works. So, but usually, you're basically stuck on the first floor with, attendance not being what it used to be and everything else. You're able to able to wager from home. So, but but I'm excited for the Breeders' Cup. Even though I'll be partaking from home this year. We'll see how um, these live stream goes. Obviously, because we'll be on probably be on it will at least be on my Twitch, and we'll figure out the other things on Friday. It may be that we're on Twitch. We may be on my YouTube or the Bleacher Brothers YouTube or whatever. I may switch things up on Friday just for shits and giggles, um, but we will definitely um, be ready to go on Friday and Saturday. So Friday it looks like 5 to 8:30 ish. Saturday will be 2:30 to 8:30. So um, we're gonna have some fun here, and hope you can join me for those 2 championship days of racing. But even with that, just a reminder: horse racing is a 364 day a year thing. Well, 365 this year because we had leap year, but they don't run on Christmas. Well, there's one track that runs on Christmas. And it's Camarero in Puerto Rico, and nobody carries Camarero. So, but anyways, so anyways, let's get to it here. Got it. I only got 3 real stories here. Um, Ron, I am going to call you sometime tomorrow. Um, I see the Yankees got angry about those bandwagon Jagoffs trampling on their yards. Stupid ump, stupid MLB. Um, I'll tell you what, and and that's perfect timing because I got a story about those 2 fans here in a second. Um, the one thing I will say is, and you know, the one thing I will say is, it's like for me personally, I picked the Dodgers in 7, and when you watched my show last Thursday, but I can't root. Um, uh, you can buzz tomorrow. I'll make myself available tomorrow. Okay, cool. Um, and I know I could just leave a message and let you know, um, give me an update or whatever. So, whoops, didn't want to share that again. Um, but the one thing I will say is seeing the 2 franchises that spend the most money. Now, if you want to spend 3, 4, 5, $600 million, go right ahead. I just don't care. Um, I just think that in a lot of cases, with the way that this is, you got the top 2 teams like this. I mean, it's great that you're getting eyes back on the game because you have Otani and Judge. You got the Dodgers, you have the Yankees, you have the top 2 markets going head to head. The only thing is, it's like choosing between the Hatfields and the McCoys. Um, but I just really think that, you know, most of my picks, especially because I've been streaming for a while now. I've been podcasting, all that. You know, even though I do have the gimmick of picking the Eagles game every week, um, you know, I try to be as fair as possible. And I couldn't root for either team, even though I got friends who are Yankees fans and I got friends that are Dodgers fans. I said, all right, Dodgers in 7, blah, 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 all done. Um, the new Hatfields and McCoys. Well, I couldn't think of anything else to say, but you get the idea. Um, but yeah, so I just really don't really, you know, I just don't. I feel dirty rooting for either side. I'd be even dirtier. Um, I'd be even dirtier if it was the Mets and the Yankees um, because the Mets took out my Phillies in the divisional round. Phillies just didn't show up, and they did the exact opposite as a team for the most part than what was expected. The guy that you least expected to have a good LCS, small dick Nick Castellanos, he was the only one that hit in the whole series. Schwarber hit a home run or 2, but that's about it. But nobody hit. The starting pitching was good. It was just that the relief pitchers imploded like the Twin Towers at World Trade Center. I know that's a bit tasteless. I'm sorry, but just telling you facts. Um, but I think my opinion before I get into these 2 fans, I hope, that the Dodgers aren't thinking we'll just win at home because that is a dangerous game to play. Now they played that game with the Mets and they got lucky and they won in 6. But the thing is, you end up losing this game, then you start worrying. And then there's a miscommunication there. Run scores, it's 5-1. And if you're behind me, which probably is the case because I'm watching off the antenna TV, as I call it, um, you'll see what happens. But I just don't. It doesn't matter to me who wins. But uh, let's just say not anymore, Ron. Um, my TV is a little bit heavy because I'm using the antenna TV here. So, um, but um, and even though I'll throw this in here as well, Ron asked me, are the Vikings about to start slumping after losing two straight games? Um, I think they're coming back down to earth a little bit because we're realizing that Sam Darnold is Sam Darnold. I mean, but the thing is, with Sam Darnold, he actually has weapons for probably the first time in his career as well. So he may actually win more games here and may get them into the playoffs. But it's but that Rams game, the NFL did them dirty, having to play Detroit on Sunday and then having to go to LA on Thursday. They did not do them well. Kind of like how in a couple of weeks I will be bitching and moaning for 3 days whether the Eagles blow out the Cowboys by 40 or they lose by 40. I'll be bitching and moaning that the NFL did the Eagles wrong by putting Dallas on a Sunday, Washington on a Thursday. Not good. You know, I mean, but then again, they're trying to give Amazon some better games because you know, we may we may not carry the game. I mean, I'm making stuff up. You get the idea, but Amazon, they want to get good ratings, and it's just so much stuff that they could, you know. I wish they didn't have Thursday night football, but it is what it is, and you know, Aaron Rodgers is drinking cayenne pepper water now because apparently that helps his pain, but whatever. So, anyways, about the Yankees and the Dodgers, um, I missed this originally because I was either getting ready. Oh no, I was coming back from the store before I started getting ready for the game, and the Dodgers getting back into this. It's now 5-3, and I probably shouldn't be telling you that because um, cayenne pepper water. Hey, the FDA says it does help with pain, so. But anyways, I did see later in the evening that two fans got ejected from the stadium. Um, and the thing is, in a normal play like that, a normal play, it would not have been fan interference because it was like this much into the crowd. So the fact that the player Mookie Betts reached in a little bit from what it looks like, it wasn't fan interference right away. But once the one fan went into the glove and the second fan went to reach for Mookie Betts's other arm, yeah, that's when fan interference comes into play there because even though you're subject to whatever the fan does in the crowd, you do have to err on the side of caution there because, you know, what would have what would have the story have been if that fan broke Mookie Betts' wrist, or if they had something I know that I know you have to go through all the metal detector shit that they have there, and rightfully so. What happens if they had something where, okay, well, you know, we could stab Mookie Betts with something, or you know, you could even do some damage with a car key or a house key or whatever. But but I know what you're thinking, but it's you had a um, but you had a potential incident there, and I guess for the most part, it was okay that these two fans did it because they're not from Philadelphia. They weren't Phillies fans that did it because God forbid a Philly fan did it. We would have been hearing about it to no end. We'd be bringing up Santa Claus, we'd be bringing up JD Drew, we'd be bringing up all that stuff. But anyways, just to let you know, I opened my mouth about the fact that the Dodgers, are they better not be, uh, purposely making this into win at home instead of in New York. Well, it's now 5-5. That's how quickly things have changed in the Bronx. So, um, Garrett Cole got rocked in this fifth inning, and it all started with a play where he did not cover first base. So a mental error led to all the two-out trouble in the fifth inning here. But those two fans were banned from entering Game Five tonight uh, if they're interfering with Mookie Betts. Um, the Yankees said in a statement. The Yankees said in a statement that the fans will not be permitted to attend tonight's game in any capacity, and added that the incident Tuesday night was egregious and unacceptable. Yeah, no shit. Um, it was not immediately clear whether the ban against Austin Capobianco and John Peter, both season ticket holders, would apply to any Yankee Stadium games next season. Now, I would think that if you do something that egregious, buy season tickets. And it's what happened there was crazy. Once I saw it, the Yankees said in a statement, the safety and security of players, fans, and stadium staff is the foundational element of every event held at Yankee Stadium, and it cannot be compromised. Um, Tonight marks the final home game of the year, and we want every ounce of our fans' passion on display. Yankee Stadium is known for its energy and intensity. However, the exuberance of uh, supporting one's team can never cross the line into intentionally putting players at physical risk. And that's what those two guys did. They could have snapped his arm or wrist there, if you think about it. Or God forbid something worse. But the team said it gave the fans Game 5 tickets to an ill child and his family who were unable to attend a kids only news conference at the ballpark in September to mark Childhood Cancer Awareness Month. So they're actually doing something good with those tickets. And Penguin AZ, welcome in. Uh, Captain Ron is here as well, um, or at least he was here. Um, Cap, uh, Capobianco did say that the Yankees did refund him for the cost of the tickets for Game 5. And he was also informed that he would be arrested if he tried to attend the game. So they're not fucking around. They're basically playing fuck around and find out. Capobianco also said, "We're hoping this is a short-term ban. We don't want to lose the season tickets." Now, I know what they do in the NFL, and I know we're talking apples and oranges here. Um, One of my friends who does have season tickets had to go through an NFL program because for whatever reason he got kicked out of the link. Now, I don't know what he did, and it was a few years ago, and he had to go through this course, and he passed it, obviously, because he's a smart guy. But, um, but yeah, I mean, I don't know if MLB has something like that, or they will just say, well, we can't, what you did is so egregious, you're not coming back. And, it may be a lifetime ban. It could just be, all right, well, you learned your lesson, but we gave you your money back because, we have to give you your money back because if not, you're probably going to sue us, even though we are the Yankees. I just think that, me personally, what I think they should do, I think they should rescind his um, rescind their season tickets because the team does have a right to do that if you're behaving badly. And especially with the way that tickets are sold now, you can trace everything and they could probably figure out, okay, and I'm making numbers up here, so if I conveniently end up in the same section, I don't even know how the sections work in Yankee Stadium. So let's say, just because I know Citizens Bank Park, section 108, row 3, seat 12. They can trace that to the credit card and go from there. Um, so, but yeah, I mean, that could have, I mean, it could have been if he did injure Mookie Betts, whether it be a sprain or a break or God knows what else, he could have been charged with assault. Both of the guys, but thankfully nobody got hurt. Thankfully Mookie Betts didn't get hurt. Thankfully security took them out, and everything's okay. Um, Penguin says this is almost like the Packers fan that denied the Lambeau leap. He almost got kicked out for touching a player. Yeah. Um, yeah. I mean, I think with the Lambeau leap, um, they're okay if it's, their own player, obviously, but, you still have to keep a close eye on things because you never know. You may have a rogue fan involved somewhere. And, I mean, some people say, Joe, really? But, you can't take anything lightly. And if you're in security, you have to keep an eye on everything in your area of the stadium. Um, what helped is that he said he was not drunk, basically, after talking to security and the NFL officials. Yeah, and the one thing is, I think that those fans were drunk, and whether they were or not, I don't know. I think they were, so I'm not accusing. So, hopefully nobody chops this up and says, all of a sudden it ends up being those fans were drunk, and those four words sound like I just made it sound like it was something poorly pieced together. But it's, I mean, with the way things are, you can't take anything for granted. Um, and the Lambo leap, even if it's, um, even if it is when they score touchdowns against my team, which they couldn't they couldn't. I think they might have wanted to, but probably were talked out of it because it's Brazil. If they wanted to, they could have did a Lambo leap. It's like it's kind of like you know, kind of like when I talked about um, Sean Payton last night. You know, if you don't want them to do the Lambo leap, try harder. You want to. You don't want us to do a fake field goal. Try harder. I mean, some of the stupid stuff that it is, but um, But in this case, this was very egregious, and it should be grounds for removing them from the season tickets. But um, the Players Association director, Tony Clark, said the union is closely tracking both the response in that incident and protective measures taken going forward. Obviously so, because last thing you want to see is one of your members getting hurt. MLBPA takes player safety and security very seriously, including and especially at the ballpark. As with every incident at the ballpark that affects players, we have been in regular contact with the league security officials since about last night's incident. Since last night's incident. So MLB Players Association has their eyes on it because especially you're you're at the end of the season here. You may be crowning a champion. As they say, to paraphrase the when the Stanley Cup could be out, could be presented in hockey. The trophy is in the building, the commissioner's trophy. You know, so you could see something. You could see the Dodgers winning a title tonight. But they're keeping track of everything, and rightfully so, because it's more than just um, the game itself. It's also you know making sure they're safe on the field as well, because you're talking about workplace conditions. So now, like you saw last night, Capo Bianco and Peter were ejected for prying the ball out of Betts' glove after the right fielder's leaping catch in the first inning. I believe it was the first batter of the game as well. So it wasn't like it was guy on second base. I don't think. Um, Betts leaped at the wall along the right field foul line in foul territory and initially caught the pop up. Capobianco, seated in the first row wearing a gray Yankees road jersey, grabbed Betts' glove with both hands and pulled the ball out while Peter grabbed Betts' non glove hand at the wrist. Betts reacted angrily. No surprise, I would be too. Um, and Torres immediately was called out for fan interference, but I don't think they even needed to call fan interference. Let me just check one thing here. Let me go to the ESPN website here for a second. And yes, I should be using Bleacher Brothers. So, box score, game 3, play by play. Was it Torres? Well, I'm not finding it here, so um, it was Gleyber Torres, right? And I apologize. This is great podcasting and streaming, by the way. Um, yeah, it was Gleyber Torres. Okay, so oh no, I'm looking at the wrong box score. That's why. So let me give myself another one of those because I'm a dope. Let's try this again. Yeah, so it was the first at bat of the game that foul out occurred, and um, it wasn't anything. It even if the fans weren't getting involved or they got someone involved, as long as he showed the ball in his glove, and like you always show it on a catch, you catch and go, you know, uh, it would have been a catch, but the fans turned it into fan interference, even though you didn't really need to call fan interference because there was nobody on base or anything like that. So, uh, but um, but Aaron Boone said that was not good. There's no place for that. It's simple as that. Come here, cheer, root for your team, whatever. No place for that. Should never have hands on anyone. Agreed. He shouldn't be doing that stuff. Um, Alex Verdugo said he wasn't too surprised by what happened in New York. And also remember, Verdugo used to play for Boston, so he probably got a lot of shit because he wore a Boston uniform for years. Um, he said, I saw it. It was maybe one of the more extreme kind of trying to rip a ball out. But at the same time, that's kind of New York. I feel like that's what you expect out here. You expect some unique things because Verdugo has that perspective from being a Boston Red Sox player for a couple of years. At the end of the day, I don't think it was felt it was too serious. I think Mookie kind of shook it off too. That's just kind of the passion I guess New Yorkers have. Rightfully so. Um, but it wasn't the first time Gleyber Torres had an interference call. If you remember in the game one with 2 outs, he had a fly ball to left field. A fan reached over the fence and caught the ball, and he was awarded a double. So, but now I don't know. I don't know if I'm going a little overboard, but we could say, we could argue that this could have been a whole lot worse. You could have been looking at a star player out for the series with a broken wrist or some sort of a wrist injury. And I mean, we know Otani's hurt because he hurt his shoulder, and every time he runs, and I'm just using my right shoulder because my right shoulder's been bothering me, but it's actually his left shoulder. But he's running. It seems like he's running all the time, like he's trying to keep his shoulder in place, but you know, but when he swings, it doesn't affect his swing too much because it's the back shoulder, even though it's actually this shoulder. But you get the idea. So, um, but I just think that this could have been a lot worse. Thankfully, knock on wood, everything's okay, and um, hopefully that he will be. Hopefully, an incident like that does not happen again, even with the way things did turn out or worse, because that's the last thing baseball wants to see, especially a year where the ratings have been going through the roof over past years. And we will get to that. We'll continue looking at the World Series here. It's 5-5 with 2 outs. Gleyber Torres, who was the aforementioned guy who had uh, fan interference twice in this series so far. He's up with the bases loaded right now, and I can hear even through these even with these earphones that the neighbors upstairs, Thunder Hooves as I call her, is home because all I hear is boom, 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 boom. And Thunder Hooves is about 85 pounds soaking wet from what I could tell when I was walking in the back door here to my the back door um, of this apartment building. So, but you know, but it is waiting to see what happens here. And LA gets out of the inning without giving up a run. So we're 5-5 after five. Um, so so the one thing is we were 4-2 with my picks last Thursday's show. I will mix in those Philly Fade picks tomorrow night, even with the Breeders' Cup. Uh, Looking at the Friday races tomorrow for you guys. Um, I might even call it the Also Eligible show on the Joe Quills. You know, kind of like how they call the Belmont meet at Aqueduct, the Belmont at the Big A. Maybe I call it Also Eligible on the Joe Quill show. I don't know. We'll figure something out. But yeah, I'll even get to use. But actually, there we go. But anyways, before we get to our next story here, just want to let you know about Rebet. Um, and I will get that link up here for you in a second here. But Rebet is a partner of Bleacher Brothers, and you can get a 100% match up to $100 on your initial deposit. I know Penguin AZ is on there. He followed me the other day. I've been taking a couple of days off in there. It's not like avoiding anything, but um, it's I don't bet every day, but Toby and AJ and Bleacher Bets, they've had an unbelievable run. I think they said they have 600 wins so far. I mean, but they put so much content out there and on the app there. But I shared the link in chat. It is a social app, and just want to let you guys know one thing. There is a feature where if you don't like one of my picks, you can go head to head with somebody. So let's say Penguin AC sees that I am playing Detroit on Sunday. And truthfully, I don't know what I'm picking this weekend, so let's pretend I am. Penguin AZ says, you know what? Let's go head to head. I don't like your pick. But Penguin AZ has said that he thinks Detroit's going to win on Sunday, even though he's a Packers fan. I think, I think it's okay to say, you know what? I think they got us this week. You know, you know, you got to be realistic. And I'm not afraid of picking against my Eagles. It's just that, um, the way the schedule has been looking the last couple of weeks. Um, and Penguin AZ does see me on Rebet because he does follow me. So let's say Penguin sees that I like somebody. I posted up early enough in the day because some of my picks I do are very last minute, but um, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I got my picks out early enough. I shared them onto my Instagram. So let's say Penguin doesn't like my pick. Let's say I have Detroit, or let's say I have whoever's playing Arizona State if they're playing this week. I haven't even looked at the college schedule. You know, Pick a team. And I say I like this team, and Penguin AZ says, "Dude, you're totally wrong. I'll bet you that my team wins." Well, you can have that gentleman's wager on Rebet. I call it a gentleman's wager. It's a head-to-head wager. I call it a gentleman's wager because there was this great movie that was based in Philadelphia called Trading Places. And in that movie, Trading Places, the two rich old curmudgeons, they had a gentleman's wager about this little thing that they did with Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. And the gentleman's wager was, helps if I have it the right way, $1, $1 American. So, Penguin AZ may say, you know what? Let's do 50 coins. I'd be like, okay, let's do it for $5. Well, I have to put $5 in my account because I've been betting with the coins, but you get the idea. Go head to head. Rebets facilitates the head to head wager, and when the game's over and uh, you know the accounting firm of Dewey, Cheatham and Howe picks up the wager and declares it official and final, they will give the money to the winning party. And it's very easy. I'm on there, Penguin's on there, AJ's on there, Toby Schulman's on there. I follow a whole bunch of guys, but I have to see the whole list there. But you can go there and see my bets, see AJ's bets, Bleacher bets, I should say, and a whole lot more. Um, Now, once again, it is a 100% match up to $100, 18 and over, must be in a state where you're able to download this app and use it. And of course, as always, if you have a gambling problem, please dial 1-800-GAMBLER. And, let's have some fun on there. We're going to be picking, actually, I might even pick no, I'm not going to, because that game is so wonky tomorrow night with the NFL, Houston and the Jets. I don't want to take a side on that game. Thankfully, I don't have to because it's not an Eagles game. But use Rebet. It's a fun app. And it's a great way to not only socialize, but even if you just use just the coin feature of it, it'll sharpen everything up with your handicapping skills and everything like that. It's kind of like me with my Quills Picks Winners articles. It was originally created so I can um, um, so I can keep my mind sharp with the horse races. But if you use that link I used in the chat, there will be a QR code there. One is for Apple, um, one is for Android. If you're using the Android, um, if you use the Android QR code, you have to use the code Brothers, BROTHERS. 1 second. Okay, I think the fire engine is far enough away now. So check out that app. It's a fun app, and you'll also get that 100% match up to $100. Use the appropriate QR code for the type of phone or tablet that you have, and check it out. And Bleacher Brothers will also, if you know from the Dragon Bike Tour people that were on AJ's show a week or two ago, they have a they have a toy drive every year. It's called Alex's Toy Drive, and the money that we get from Rebet is going to Alex's Toy Drive, and it is a great charity. Well, I don't know if you want to call it a charity or a toy drive, or whatever, but if you if you do sign up, the money will go to Alex's Toy Drive between now and Thanksgiving, and the foster kids of Ocean County, New Jersey, AJ's home area. We are helping out with the kids in that area, helping the foster kids, um, having them have a Merry Christmas this year because every kid deserves to have a Christmas with presents and love and all that. And you know, there's nothing. I mean, even with me, old curmudgeon without any kids, there's nothing better than seeing kids opening presents on Christmas morning or Christmas Eve, depending on what portion of the family. Because I can tell you, when I was a kid, we went to my one grandmother's house, my one grandparents' house, and you know we had Polish food, and then we had the Christmas. We had Christmas Eve at my grandmother's house, and we would open presents there Christmas Eve. So, but that's one thing that we're focusing in on is Alex's Toy Drive, and if you don't know about Alex's Toy Drive or the Dragon Bike Tour, they were on the show a week or two ago. It is on YouTube, so feel free to check that out as well. So on the Bleacher Brothers YouTube. So check that out as well. So did want to mention that as well here. And if you are on Android, use the code Bleachers, BLEACHERS. That will get you through to they'll get the promotion through for you there. So just wanted to touch base on that. So um, some NFL news here, and we still got a 5-5 game at Yankee Stadium right now, bottom of the sixth. Derek Carr is expecting to return this week, but he said he's no savior. And he joked. I mean, the article that I have here, they were joking around about that. I mean, he was joking around, but it's like, all right, well, let's get some clicks. So Derek Carr's expected to play Sunday against the Panthers. He missed 3 games with an oblique injury. Saints coach Dennis Allen said Jake Hayner will be Carr's backup, even though Spencer Rattler was the starter in um, Derek Carr's absence. The typical coach speak here. We felt like Rattler gave us the best chance at the time. He didn't. And so I think we'll see where we're at come this weekend with what the expectation is. My expectation is that Derek is going to be ready to go. Now, Carr had not played since leaving at the end of a Week 5 loss to the Chiefs with a left oblique strain. He said it was a slow process to return, but gave credit to the Saints athletic staff for getting him back ready to go. But the one thing is, um, and this is especially when you have a strong, I'm going to call it an alumni fan base, alumni base for your team. Derek Carr reached out to Drew Brees. He had a similar injury in 2014, and he asked for advice about after being injured because Brees had that similar injury going into 2014. And he admitted that Brees, that is, admitted that his mechanics suffered after returning in just a few weeks. And basically, what Brees said was, make sure your mechanics are okay, because so what if you're rusty? Um, Carr feels confident he's not coming back too early or risking a setback. So that's good for the Saints, who lost 6 in a row. I'll tell you what, the Saints, after 2 games, they look like that they're everybody's darlings. And then the Eagles went in there, beat them, and then all of a sudden you start losing a couple more games. Then you lose a quarterback. Everybody else is getting hurt. Really looked like it was um, really was an opportunity that went off the rails pretty quickly. Um, Now the Saints have only scored 3 touchdowns in their past 3 games, and the team has lost 6 straight. It's their longest streak since 2005. So now Carr said, laughing, "Is there any added pressure to return to the team that's been struggling?" He said, "I'm no savior. There's only been one of those, and that's not me." And he was joking around when he said it, but you know, they mentioned this article. They use that as the headline to get clicks. And you know what? For the most part, I couldn't care less if you're saying something like that, because you know you have to take it into context. And a lot of times, the context is blown out of proportion, where you don't hear the whole thing, or even read the whole thing, or get the idea of it from this. Um, but Carr also said he's going to be a full commitment from himself and his teammates in the final 10 weeks of the season. I think the Chiefs. I think the Saints are going to win some games in the second half of the year. It's just that they may have dug themselves too much of a hole this year. But you never know. The NFC South may be in play. Who knows? But um, I think that you do have, you you could get that team. That team could be a team that you don't want to face later in the year if they can get things back on track offensively, even though they've had a ton of injuries. I mean, most teams have had tons of injuries too. I mean, with the Eagles, their injuries were not too severe, and they came at the perfect time, right at the bye week. But the Eagles are 5-2. They play Jacksonville on Sunday. Those are watching this after the fact, even. Um, just to let you know, the Eagles got flexed out of Sunday Night Football. Um, so they will be playing a 4:05 game at the Link on Sunday. The old bridge game that the Carolina Panthers usually play. I think it's more of an indictment on the Jacksonville Jaguars than it is the Eagles. But you do have the Colts and the Vikings who ended up getting the Sunday night game, and you do have Joe Flacco starting for the Indianapolis Colts this weekend as Anthony Richardson was benched. Some will say it's because of the um, asking out of the game because he was tired. I was watching Pat McAfee's show while I was working, and I had the volume up a little bit so I could hear what they said. JJ Watt said, if you needed a break, all you had to do was stay down for a couple extra seconds. Instead of asking out, you know, just stay there a couple extra seconds. And he's a and I've said it. I said it last night. I'll say it again. He's a second year guy in terms of what you see on the roster, but in all actuality, Richardson is a rookie still in terms of playing time because he's only played a few games. He played a few games last year. He got hurt. Was pretty much every game was out for the year. Little dings here and there this year. He's got to learn to conserve his energy for the most part. So you can only do so much, and that's something that he will learn in the future, hopefully. Because if not, it could be probably the biggest bust of the year for that. Um, so all right. So the Yankees score on the sacrifice fly there, 6-5. Now I'm going to get to this final story here in a second here, but I don't know about you, but I think Jazz Chisholm there tagging up from first base to second was a dumb move because you had the runner tagging from third. If he's tagged out before Juan Soto touches the plate, that run does not count. So you had a possibility there that you would have ran yourself out of a potential go ahead run there. Now, I don't know if it was him doing it on his own or the first base coach. We may never know. Um, but you do have to realize that sometimes you have to make the smart move there, and probably the smart move was not to tag there, but that's just me. Um, but either way, the Yankees do lead 6-5 right now. So Yankees are trying to send it back to LA and try to become the first team ever to be down 3-0 in the World Series and go to a game six. They were the first team since 1970 that was down 3-0 and won game four to force a game five. Now, I know some will say, well, wait a second. Didn't they blow a 3-0 lead in a series, meaning the Yankees? Yes, it was 20 years ago, but it was the ALCS. It wasn't the World Series. So just to let you guys know about that. But um, One final story here, and of course, if you want to add something as well, we can do that as well here. Um, just want to check one thing here. Okay, so yeah, I can. My plan that I have may be working tonight. So, anyways, did you guys know that at least in the Power Four conferences, they do have the radio transmission, which is akin to the National Football League? Well, it turns out from this article, which was originally posted, I think it was posted originally on the Athletic. Um, but it may be an ESPN story, but um, coach to player in-game communications during Power Four college football games this season have been occurring on unencrypted frequencies. And this is a revelation that raises questions about whether they could have been compromised. Now, and we'll get to that in a second. So think about it like it was 10, 15, 20 years ago when um if you remember the police scanners, um if you found the right frequency, you can hear the conversation that somebody's having on their cordless landline phone. Remember those? So you can listen to those conversations. So, you can get the dirt that, some chick down the street got knocked up, or this person did this or that person did that, or you could just listen to whatever. But you do have, um as we'll see in here, you know it's like you're talking a totally different language when you're talking about these in these conversations between the players and the coaches uh through the communication device. But I can see why you would be paranoid that they would figure this out, because even though you'd be even changing some of the verbiage game over game as well, you know, sometimes you may have a guy who, um you may have a coach on the other side that was a part of your staff at one time. So they may know some of your verbiage in general, even though you may have changed it around over the years. But you can kind of get an idea, I would think. But um, Texas Tech athletic director Kirby Hockett said he raised the issue during a call with the Pac-12 athletic directors on Tuesday after learning the Red Raiders helmet communications were unencrypted and accessible to anyone with a scanner and knowledge of how to locate the frequencies. Because I know the one thing is when I had a police scanner many years ago, because we like to listen and hear like some of the things that are going on in the neighborhood, just for laughs, or oh, there's gunshots in this neighborhood in this section of my district, or uh there's an alarm that's going off that required a police presence. You have all these different things that happen, and there are times where you have nothing, and you have a cop that may even fart on there and be like, "Ah, you're not supposed to do that," things like that. Um, but you could, if you knew what the frequencies were, you could listen in on that. Now, the Big 12 has instructed its 10 schools playing games this weekend to send their helmet communication devices back to GSC, the provider for all 68 Power 4 schools this year, for a software update that would provide encryption, sources told ESPN. So, you know, now granted, you're talking a totally different code, spider Y banana and all that other stuff, and in a way, you're not going to figure that out. But you know, if you had somebody who was smart enough to do that, and I don't even, and even if you were picking up the other team's transmissions, even if you were to end up facing them in the conference championship game, they may not be using the same verbiage, even if their stuff wasn't re-encrypted. But you get the idea. Um, so the modules and cutoff switches are expected to be updated and returned in time for Saturday's games. Um, Texas Tech requests a report from the Big 12 on recent games against TCU and Butler to ensure the integrity of the games were not compromised, and the conference is accommodating that request. So, um, you know, it does seem like it's um, a little too much, but that's just me. But you have to make sure, right? Um, we gotta have a game whose integrity is not questionable in any way on a Saturday afternoon," said Hokett. We owe it to the 120 young men on our football team to ensure that happens. That it's a game of fair competition. The same set of rules are enforced. So I get it, and I would say that maybe because it's a um, bank. Welcome in. Hope you're doing well out there. I just think that you got to realize that you know you're talking a whole different language, but I understand because you may be, and trust me, we know this from I think it was the Green Bay Jacksonville game. Even though this is apples and oranges, you got a hot mic and you hear the green. I think it was the tight end. He's saying, "I'm effing okay. I'm effing okay" on the mic that got picked up. Now, in terms of this, even though there's a switch and they cut off at 15 seconds left on the clock, you may say something which, you might have it on a little too long, or, it may not even cut off in time. So you could conceivably have an issue with everything with the whole setup. But at least that's me thinking. Um, no schools have made specific allegations that an opponent may have accessed their in-game frequencies. Several Big 12 and Power 4 coaches, staffers have questioned whether a competitive advantage could be gained if that did occur. And because you have so much jargon in here that you know it's like it, it's like me talking to Bank Boy and I'm talking in, I don't know, pick a language that he wouldn't know. You know, all right, French. Let's say Bank Boy doesn't know French. I start talking French, you'd be like, "What the hell is he saying?" That sort of thing. But um, now, if you were just to let you know, this is the first season that college football has had the in-game use of coach-to-player helmet communications and tablets, and tablets have been permitted at the FBS level. And uh, Bank Boy said facts on that. I just wanted to pick a language that I didn't want to say a random language like I know that language, dude. I didn't want to do that, so I was trying to, and also my brain was buffering and all that. Um, so This rule was approved in April, 6 months after launching an investigation into Michigan's alleged signal stealing scheme under former staffer Connor Stallions, if you remember everything with that with Michigan. Um, but with the sign stealing things and everything like that, I could see that. Um, I just think that a lot of this is, um, you know, it's a little paranoia, but it's like, well, what do you know? And even when Michigan played Rutgers a couple years ago, uh, the Rutgers coach kind of led on about it, even though it wasn't. It was pretty veiled, but just the way he said it last year or 2 years ago, it's like, when you look back at it now. But um, in the Big 12, the concerns about potential vulnerabilities had not been addressed at AD or the head coach level until Tuesday. On Tuesday, the Big 12 sent a memo to ADs and coaches acknowledging that someone with intimate knowledge of frequency scanners and the GSC systems could hear communications. So, you know, you could conceivably hear somebody on there. Now, GSC and the frequency experts, according to the Big 12 Chief Football and Competition Officer Scott Draper in the memo, said GSC and the frequency experts consulted shared that the risk of someone's ability to access the communications are very low. But if you know what the frequencies are, but the four conferences met weekly to discuss the next steps, and each chose the same path forward to inform the head equipment managers of what we knew. We changed frequencies while the software update from GSC was complete. Conferences should have shared this information with you. They're doing all they can, and I think because if you think about it, you had 4 months to get this into the helmet. I'm sure you had to get it in the helmets probably in July so that the quarterbacks could get used to hearing it and also hearing um, the linebacker, whoever's on the defense, they have to get used to it too. So I imagine that it was probably not a completed product, obviously, but the NFL, theirs are encrypted. College wasn't. So, but I don't know what would happen if because I think it's just the Power Force conferences that have this. So I don't know if they have to revert to the old way. I don't know how that will work for, like, let's say if Penn State had to play Boise State in the football tournament this year, the football playoffs. But that's something we'll find out eventually. Now, the Big 12 notified equipment managers at its 16 member schools about switching to backup frequencies in early October, but some staffers may not have forwarded the information to their football staffs. Multiple ADs on the Big 12 call told ESPN that they were unaware of this issue until Hokett addressed it Tuesday. Now, Texas Tech, who lost 59-35 to Baylor on the 19th and 35-34 to TCU last Friday, they opted to move forward with a different coach-to-player system with encrypted communication provided by CoachCom for its game against Iowa State this Saturday, rather than wait for the software update or the results of the Big 12 inquiry. So they're doing something different. I imagine it's okay that they did it in short term, because God forbid you're not using that product that we want you to use. I guess they got the okay with that. The SEC has communicated with the Olds program about the security update available through GSC. The league office is attentive to the issue, but there's not a high level of concern. The Big Ten has been aware of the conversation around the helmet communications, had not had any issues. Programs are updating their technology, much like others around the sport. Um, In the ACC, the league has been tracking the issue for nearly a month. At no point has any ACC team expressed concern to the league office. They also had the ability to send in the equipment to GCS for the update, which some have already taken advantage of. ACC does not have a significant level of concern, in part because no programs have expressed concerns. So, um, there's still mixed opinions among the Big 12 staffers. Now, the frequency does not broadcast all headset communication, so that's a key. But you may have a hot mic issue every once in a while, or maybe have a an error where it doesn't cut off at 15 seconds left, like it says it does here. Um, so the frequency does not broadcast all headset communications. It's merely what one coach says to one player on the field, typically a quarterback on offense or a linebacker on defense, and only when the coach is holding the button to speak to them before communication is cut off 15 seconds before the snap. So, but the thing is, I would be, because you never know, you may get a button that sticks. I mean, but that's just me. Um, Now, one Big 12 chief of staff argued that there is no real advantage, and I was saying this earlier, and that's why I was saying it. One, you're speaking a different language. Two, if you think you'll be able to enact in real time what they say and try to do on the field, you're delusional. You're just being your stereotypical paranoid football coach. You can't relate to the kids fast enough. Agreed. Because you say something with 20 seconds left on the play clock, you got 5 seconds left to say it, and by the time that's the case, you probably don't even realize you don't even have the right formation you want because it's going to be a pass play, and you think it's going to be a run play. The law of averages says that this team you're playing will run the ball in second down, but hey, they're going to pass, and they got four wide receivers, and and you only have and you're the guys they have on the field may not be the right guys, but it's interesting to see what happens with this, and um, you know, little did I know that they were unencrypted. Some coaches did say that they were able to pick up their signals, but then again, they knew what the frequency was. So you don't have you don't have anybody on the other team saying, "Hey, what's the frequency, Kenneth?" You know, the REM song, but you know, you do have. Um, I mean, you know, it isn't like um, back in the old days when play scanners were a thing, were very popular back in the day. You could go in there, look up Philadelphia police, okay, 453, whatever, program it into your device, and you can hear everything going on in your neighborhood. So, but yeah, is it a cause of concern? Yeah, but I agree with the chief of staff there that you are talking a totally different language, and just to figure out what they're saying is a bit crazy. You know, it's like I'd be talking French to Bank Boy, or somebody speaking Spanish to me, or anything like that. So, but you get the idea there. Um, so, so that will be it for now. Just a reminder. Um, Tomorrow we're going to be heavy on the 5 Breeders' Cup races on Friday from Del Mar. Um, it may be also eligible on the Joe Quill show. We also have Saturday morning also eligible, and I will be sidecasting the races from Del Mar. I will be watching the feed from Del Mar and talking about the races there. The races will be on Peacock, on FanDuel TV, It will be on NBC, US. I mean, it's all over the NBC group of networks that they have. So, but I'm going to be looking at those 5 races for Friday, and we'll get. I'll give you what I think are my picks. Um, we'll go from there. And I gotta do some work because some horses that were entered were scratched. So I do have to catch up on that as well. So, but either way, going to do a little bit of Thursday night handicapping for that. I'll have my Philly fade picks for the weekend. Hopefully the Eagles can get the 6-2 this weekend, even though they're wearing those god awful Kelly green uniforms this weekend, and so much more. Probably be a longer show tomorrow night. Uh, so so I do appreciate everybody who took the time to watch tonight. Whether you're watching live, uh, you're lurking around, or you're watching and you were active here. Thank you, Captain Ron and Penguin AZ, for watching on YouTube. Uh, Bank Boy was in Twitch here tonight, and those that are lurking uh, on X and on Twitch. Do appreciate everybody. And those that are on Twitch, and this is an advantage that you have with being on Twitch, is I can raid out to you guys. So what we're going to do, those are on Twitch, you have the honor of being part of this raid, and we will enjoy. We'll be back here tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and let's join Action Labs. They're great people there, and we will do it live here on the Joe Quill Show tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and we'll do it live. See if we can get you ready to make some money on Friday. So um, we'll rate out to um, them, and have a great night, everybody. And let's do it live here tomorrow at 9 o'clock, right here at Twitch, YouTube, and X, all at Joe Quills. Thank you for joining me. Have a great night.